Let's create a new project, delete everything in the scene with AX. Let's go to our render settings and change our render engine to Cycles. Let's click Shift A to add a new cube. We can pull up our timeline. This is where we add different keyframes and animate. Here's our timeline. Let's click on our cube. Now we're going to click I and then choose a keyframe. There are different types of keyframes that you can choose. Let's use location. You can see there's a new dot on our timeline. Now, let's move to a different frame. We can click G to move our cube, click down, and then click I again to create a new location keyframe. You can see a new keyframe has been created. Click and drag the line to scrub between the different keyframes. The computer automatically animates it for you. Another way that we can add keyframes is through properties. We can go to the Properties tab, and then we can choose a location, rotation, or scale. Here we're doing rotation. Click the little keyframe icon to the side, and then set it to your desired rotation value and click keyframe again. Now, if you scrub between these, you can see that it is also keyframing between the rotation. We can see the same thing happening with size. We can have multiple size keyframes at once. Any value that has a keyframe icon next to it can be animated. Let's switch to look depth by clicking Z and then choosing look depth. This allows us to see our materials and their colors. Let's create a color transition by choosing the frame to start on, and then going to our Materials tab and creating a new material. For this one, I'm going to choose a simple color, red. Right-click on the property and then choose Insert Keyframe to insert a new keyframe with that color. Now, we're going to go to a different frame, and then we're going to change our color to blue. Do the same by right-clicking and then clicking Insert Keyframe. Now, if you scrub between the two frames, you can see the color changing. This is something that works for any value. Any value you can change can be animated. Just right-click and then click Insert Keyframe. Let's create some shape keys. Click on the green triangle on your object and then click on the plus icon to add a new shape key. The first one you add will be called basis. This is the basic shape. Add another shape key to start creating new keys and customizing them. Shape keys save the position of vertices in your object and allow you to animate between different configurations. Let's hit Tab to go into edit mode so we can keep our timeline along with seeing our properties and vertices. Make sure you have key 1 selected, and then we can edit our shape key. Grab some vertices and move them around. Experiment with different shapes until you find something you'd like to animate. Let's go back to object mode by hitting Tab. You'll notice that your cube goes back to the way it was. This is because it's on basis. Under Properties, change the value of key 1 to see how it animates between basis and key 1. You can have multiple shape keys at the same time animating between different shape keys. Choose a position on the timeline and keyframe your value. Choose a different position, change the value, and keyframe it again. Try scrubbing between the different values and seeing how your shape changes. You can have many different shape keys at the same time and animate between them whenever you'd like. Try adding some new shape keys and tweaking between them and see how it goes. Now we're ready to render, so let's go into the render mode by clicking Z and then render view. Let's click Shift and then A and then add some lighting. Now let's click Shift and then A to add a camera. We can position this camera where we want it so that we can see our full animation. let's click Ctrl, Alt, and then numpad 0 to switch your camera to your view. Now let's set our world background by going to the World tab and then choosing a background color. Now let's head to the Output tab. We're going to set our percentage to around 60% to lower our resolution. Now let's choose which frame to start and end our animation on. At frame rate, we can choose how many frames per second we want. Let's generally keep it at 24 FPS. Now go to Output, and then we'll click the little folder icon to choose where we want to save all of our images. You should create a new folder and put all of your images inside of it, because there will be a bunch of them and we don't want to lose track of where they are or clutter up our space. Now, let's choose what type of file format we have. We're going to be using a PNG because this will output a single image for each and every single frame. We'll compile this into a video later on. Let's go to the Render tab and click Render Animation to start our entire animation sequence. Now that we're done rendering, we can check in the folder that we created for all of our images and make sure that they are all there. Now we can start compiling all of our images into a video. Let's go back and close our render view. What we're going to do now is save our file so that we do not lose our progress. And then we're going to go and create a new file, but instead of going general, we're going to go to video editing. This is our video editing project. In the middle, we have our viewport where we view our video. Underneath, we have our sequencer. And to the sides, we have our settings. Here we have our render settings open. Over here, we have our files. Let's start compiling our video by going to the sequencer and clicking on Add. We're going to go and click on Image/Sequence. It's going to ask us to open a file, so let's go navigate to our image sequences. We can click A to select all of them, and then we're going to click on Add Image Strip. Now we have our image strip in our sequencer. Now let's go fix our render settings. We need to make sure that they match with the old one. Make sure that your end and start frame are the same as what your normal project was. You can also match your render resolution to what your project was. Now let's choose a render location. Click on the file icon, and we don't have to put this in another folder this time because it will be a single video. Let's choose a file format. This time we're going to use FFmpeg video. This will create a video out of all the images that we have. Let's click on render and then click on render animation. This should go by pretty quickly. It'll render the full video, and then you can go to wherever you saved it, double click, and then open your video and watch it. And here we have our final animation. Great job!